What's up? Look what I did. I finished it. Water pillar. No blocks. It's all air. Pretty crazy. Look at the... It comes down, hits the floor. No water flows anywhere. No, I didn't use any level editor, world editor programs to do this. This was all done legitimately. And I'm gonna demonstrate. The last two videos I showed like the process, but then at the end of the last one, I had to do something very time consuming, and I didn't record all that. But I probably should have taken like screenshots or recorded little sections. But I want to just demonstrate. I'm gonna just like make a flat world, customize. So it's gonna be height. Can I change the height? How do I add water to it? Okay, so I think this is gonna work out, so I can demonstrate. Create new world. I'm just gonna, if you wanted to do that same thing I just did, I'm gonna go through the process to how to manipulate the water physics and place blocks, where to place blocks and break blocks, and in what specific order, because that really matters. Alright, so for this I'm going to turn off my shader. No shader. And alright, so the water isn't very deep. So first of all, you got to fill in an area of cobblestone, and this is in order to remove all the water source blocks from that spot. So first of all, let me just build a little platform up here to demonstrate some water stuff to make sure you understand how that works. So have you ever seen people talk about making infinite water sources? Well, basically there's two types of water in the world. You can have water source blocks, which all these are water source blocks, and when you have a water bucket, that's also a water source block that you place and pick up. But then there's also flowing water, which are not actual blocks that you can control, like pick up. You can only pick up the source blocks if you had an empty bucket. So one thing you can do, first of all, an ocean like this, they're all source blocks. If it's flowing, then it's probably not a source block. So one thing people do to make infinite source blocks, you can do either a 2x2 hole like that, and the reason this works, you can see if I pick up some water, it instantly becomes another source block. That's because any block will become a water source block if it meets two conditions. The first condition is it needs to be 1 block deep. So 1 block deep, that works, but if this is gone, then I can pick this up and it's not going to become a source block. So first condition, 1 block deep. Second condition, it needs 2 bordering water source blocks. So they can either be adjacent sides, like right here and here, or it can be, you can also make like a 1x3 infinite water spring. So then you can take from the center, and then since that's 1 block deep and you got 2 adjacent water sources, then that's also going to be creating water source blocks. So then, of course, if you take from here, it's not going to create a source here because the condition is not met where it needs to, because it only has 1 adjacent source block, it needs 2. So now that you understand that, you pretty much can understand what I'm going to be showing you. So the room I showed you in my other world was 4x4. So if you wanted to make a 4x4, you'd have to remove all the source blocks, not only in that 4x4 area, but also directly bordering that 4x4, because the water source blocks will try to flow. Let me demonstrate. If you had like a water source block up in the air, you put it like underneath, it's going to try to spread out one block to the side on all sides. So you can't have that. So that's why for a 4x4 room you'd have to actually remove the source blocks 6x6 for the whole thing. So that's pretty much all you need to know. Also, one more thing to show you before I kind of simulate that build I just did. you can see I just removed the source block by doing that, and you might actually have had this problem before on accident. If you built in the water and then like took out your building, then the water is all weird because all the source blocks are missing and they're not refilling because it's not 1 block deep, so it's not going to generate new source blocks. Well, in order to fix that, you could go underneath the water 1 level, and since that's 1 block deep now, then it'll become a source block, and then you can remove that. Now of course there's like a missing source block underneath, but you can't really see that. Anyways, so let's say we were trying to make the thing I was doing, a 4x4. So let's start by filling in a 6x6 area. And of course I used a turtle to do this, I didn't do it all by hand. So there's a 4x4. Now I'm going to cut the video, well no, let me make it 6x6. There's 5 and 6. So now I'm just going to cut the video and fill this all. I'm going to repeat this up to the 4 levels. Alright, so I got a 6x6 all the way from the surface to the floor. So this is where the air tunnel will be in the middle. Alright, so what you can go ahead and do, just so you, well, first of all, I just want to show you, we're going to eventually be digging out all these cobblestone blocks. Of course, I did this with the turtle, but I'm not going to be doing that in this video just because this is going to be a tutorial kind of. It's a water lesson, water physics lesson. So let me just show you. Here you can break this. Of course, this water from the side is going to flow in this way. Alright, so keep that in mind. That's okay though, because as long as this center part stays as air, the center 4x4, then we're good. But now also, this is important here. This is really important. Notice that when I break a corner, it actually creates a source block in here because the conditions are met. 1 block deep, 2 adjacent source blocks. So in order to get around that problem, because remember the goal is to remove all these blocks without creating any source blocks in the 6x6 area all the way down. So what you have to do is actually start at the bottom, but you can see if I break this, that is now a source block. So what you have to do, you have to dig 1 layer out from the bottom underneath all these. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And then you have to remove all the blocks from the bottom up, and that way no source blocks will be created. I'm first going to dig out the center 4x4. This is exactly what I did in my other world, but it was really tall instead of just 4 blocks deep. So let's go ahead and dig this out. Oh no, wait, I'm wrong. First, I dug this 2x2 all the way down, and we'll just dig it about that deep. Okay, so now the goal, I could dig out the 4x4, but just to avoid any water physics problems screwing it up, I'm gonna keep that in for safety, and then I can like remove it later. But now basically all you got to do is remove all these blocks. The reason I just replaced that corner one is because that was still a source block, so then I placed it and removed it. So you have to I'm removing all the outer layers. So when I'm done with this, it's going to be 4x4 all the way up. So all these outer shell, you have to just start at the bottom and work up, otherwise you're going to be creating source blocks. Just make sure that you're not breaking any that are going to be above another block, so it'll be 1 block deep of water, and you should be good. Now I'm going to go ahead and get the other 2 layers, and I'll cut the video and be right back. Okay, well I broke that 1 layer, and I just wanted to point out that you should see once you break this, there's no source blocks here. The source blocks are here, and they're just going to flow in one block in, and then they're going to go down. So you shouldn't have any water coming in into the hole. And then you should be able to keep breaking these all the way down. You can see water doesn't come in because all the source blocks are gone. And you should have that type of pattern of the water flow, the water movement. So you can just keep doing this. Now I'm going to remove all the stone and show you the next step. The bottom of the thing, it gets tricky if you wanted to make it really fancy. So this, if I was to break this sand here, this water would flow in. Let me just get some sand in my inventory to show you. See, so it flows in there, so we don't want that. What we're gonna do, this might be tricky because it's sand, but okay, see, one thing you need to understand about water is that it always tries to find the quickest way down to the next level down, next to one layer lower in elevation. So if we put a hole here, you can see that if we put like a water source here, it's just going to flow straight into the hole, and that's it. It's not going to spread out. But if there's nowhere for the water to go, then it's going to spread out. It's going to just spread out everywhere evenly. So what's going to happen since if I was to break any of these blocks, let me make it daytime, then the water would flow in because it's going to be flat ground. So in order to prevent water from flowing into your room, just go ahead and dig out some blocks like this. You could just, that's enough here, just so the water has a direct way down to the next level. Because remember, imagine all the water pillars as independent. So this water is flowing down. It's going to hit like this block, for example, and then it's going to go flow down to there. If you were to break this now, it's not going to fill up, but since I don't have the hole behind this one yet, if I break this, it's going to come in here. So that's what those holes are helping us direct the water flow. So it prefers to flow that route. And then you can go ahead and just dig out all these actually, and you can see that it's going to keep flowing that way because it's already programmed to be going that direction. So it doesn't want to change unless that gets blocked, and it has to recalculate kind of. Alright, so now this is pretty much all I did, except for at the bottom I had water flowing down these walls instead of these walls meeting the water like parallel like that. The water would flow down to the floor. So let me just dig this deeper real quick, 1 second. Alright, so what I had, I'm going to try to do this without dropping sand, but I had a little doorway. So if I can stick some cobblestone like that, this is what I had. Alright, that's all I'll do. That's enough. So then the water would flow on all the walls down the sides, and then also flowed and stopped above the door. So what you're going to have to do, obviously, is break down these walls. But you got to be smart about it, because right now what happens if you just break one of these? Well, the water is going to come down to this next block, and it's going to fill up this whole thing. So what we can do to start, to control the water, watch this. We can break a corner, and now all the water is going to try to fill into that corner. It's not going to flood the whole room because this is now the deepest spot in the near area. So the water is going to detect this, and it's going to all try to fit in that little hole. Now, since this is sand, it might be kind of annoying, but I'm just going to go ahead and break down a wall and demonstrate, and I'll fix it. Once it gets, you can see it set up another layer here. It extended out another layer, so I'm going to go ahead and plug that, or plug it up just by doing this. There's probably better ways, more efficient ways to do this, but this works fine. Alright, now we can break these, and you can see the water isn't going to fill it back up because it has it already is flowing down. Now, what you want to do is get the corners. Uh-oh. That doesn't screw anything up, but you want the corners to be the deepest spot. So, you need a hole like that. And same thing over here. The only reason I'm putting cobblestone here is so it doesn't collapse. So I'm going to dig into this wall, give it a corner hole so it can flow down there. So now when I break this, you can see, well, since I need to fix that because I dug that out earlier, you can see now the water is flowing in the corner. Now you got this water like meeting the floor, and it's flowing into the corner instead. Now what's really weird is you can actually cover that up and it still works. Oh, maybe not that one. I gotta do all of them first, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm just gonna do another wall like that, and then I'm gonna. Oh, here we go. Wait. Oh, I blocked that. Okay, now that's good. Now I'm gonna do another wall. I'm gonna do this wall now the same way. So let me just get a temporary hole, or I think it's all just gonna try to find that one anyway. So I can go ahead and. I think the easiest way to do this without getting a mess. Yeah, this is a way to do it. Watch this. I just need cobblestone on all these, and then I can. Trying to improvise here and come up with shortcuts, but it's not working. I'm just gonna remove all this water that flowed in now. It's just kind of like sculpting. Okay. It's really weird the way it behaves, but maybe you're kind of getting an idea. All right. So what I did was replace all those with cobblestone. So now this is what it would be like for you, because building in sand was a bad idea. Now what you're gonna do before you break those is you can dig out the bottom all in one, so you don't have any water flowing everywhere. And now you can see this hole that I dug is gonna work the same way for this one. So I can go ahead and break these, and they'll all just stop at the floor because they're all actually flowing towards that hole. Okay. So what I'm actually gonna do is the same thing for this one, and I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna change my method of doing that, so I can just actually do that to handle the sand problem. Dig that out. Need another hole here for this this wall. Now I can go ahead and break these. Okay. Kind of makes sense, right? You can go ahead and break these also. That's what I did in my other world. It was a 6x6 all the way down. Then you can, for the door, what you want to do, I actually use something called a micro block. I don't think I can get it from creative mode, or I can make one. So you need a handsaw. In order to make a micro block, you put this into crafting like that, and I'm going to make some covers, and then I'm going to turn the covers into cover strips. Okay, so cover strips are little like 1/8 by 1/8 blocks. What I did was I put them like underneath, maybe. Yeah. Oops, I just caused a block update. See that? That's one thing about water, is that when you're putting it in these weird states like that, you can, if you cause any updates, it's gonna recalculate, and so you can't be placing blocks around once you have it finished. But I'm gonna go ahead and fix this real quick by blocking this. There, that was good. Oops. Well, let me just go ahead and make this wall now. So let me go ahead and that. Alright, so my little micro blocks are here. So water, oops, water won't be able to flow if, sorry guys, sand. Water won't be able to flow out of those. If water's up there, it can't come through the micro blocks because they're occupying this block underneath. So that's the reason I have those for the door. Now if you ever get water in the floor like this, just go ahead and do that. Then you go ahead and break these. So now, first off, for the doorway, let me just figure out, I'm going to do the side columns first because those are easy. So let me go ahead and put some cobblestone here so I can dig these out just like before. This water will then reach this hole. So there's one of the side pillars done, and the same thing for the other side. Same thing. Need a hole in this corner also. There we go. Now in order for this doorway, what the path of the water it's going to be coming down right where this cobblestone is. It's going to come down from here, then it's going to be here. Now what's going to happen when it hits here is it's going to realize it has 3 different routes in order to get to the next layer using only 1 block. So it can either come out the front or it can go down to the left. Yeah, it won't go to the right because that won't work. But I can demonstrate, but it would kind of screw everything up. But if I was to break this block, water would come down here. It would split its route, half of it going here, and then it would also come out the front, because those are the 2 ways it can get down to the next level by only moving 1 block to the side. So what we have to do is we just have to block the front, and then the water would just all go out the side. And then we can break these, maybe. Maybe not. I know I did this somehow though. How did I do this? Okay, I figured out what was going on. So when this block breaks, it's still only got one block it has to move out the front. So if you just stick another one underneath, then that's gonna make the water think, oh well, if I go out the front, then I'm still gonna have to travel 2 blocks to get down to the next level. So that's, if you do that, that's gonna force the water to go down the sides, and then you can break these, and then it's gonna just flow down the sides. Then you can, if this wasn't sand, you'd be able to go dig a tunnel out or whatever. And of course you can do different dimensions. Instead of 4x4, you just gotta fill in the dirt or the stone when you start. If you're doing a 3x3 room goal, like end build, I mean, then you'd have to do a 5x5 chunk of stone. Another thing that you can do at the end, well, I can also remove all these now, these corners, like I already did those ones. But one thing that's really weird is you can actually plug these up, and the water will still not come out. So that's pretty weird. I mean, it's just a flat floor and all the water is just flowing down into nowhere, but it works. I mean, as long as you don't cause any block updates like that, screw everything up. But I mean, you can fix it. You just gotta block off all the water. You gotta block off every single one to reset it. That too. And then, ooh. Oh yeah, so the reason, and then you'd also have to break the corners again before you broke all the stone. So they'd flow down into the corners, and then you can break all the cobblestone. So if you ever screw it up, that's what you gotta do. Then you can break all these. And then if you wanted to, you can go ahead and put the corners back in, just to make it flat floor. And you can turn on your shader. Ooh. Ah, you got a weird reflection going on. Maybe. I know in my other world it looks really dark because it's so deep, and you got some cool reflections. There you go. You can kind of see like five squares of dirt there on the different walls. Yeah. So that was a lesson in water physics. I know it's kind of a weird random topic, but I thought you might find it interesting, just in case anyone was wondering how I did that thing in my world. I know it looks like it's totally cheated in, like with MC Edit, but I just wanted to show how it was done. The only reason I have this thing in my base, I mean, it is cool, but the reason I wanted it in the first place is for solar panels, because I wanted solar energy, but I'm like 50 blocks below sea level, and I'm not even close to the shore, so it would be a really long cable if I wanted to put some solar panels up on the beach or something. So I wanted to have some solar energy down here because I need vision of the sky. They can't be blocked by water. So they're actually down here. They still work because there's micro blocks here, and those don't count as solid blocks. So you can see this is actually generating power. Micro blocks. So that's the reason why I made it. But it is pretty cool still. Yeah, so pretty random video, but maybe you guys learned some stuff. And I'm gonna talk to you guys next time. Alright, bye bye.